Hey fam, welcome to another video in which I read an old writing of mine. In this video, we are taking a second look at a poem that I wrote in 10th grade for a high school class. In my 10th grade literature class, we were looking at all of the components that make up poetry and all the techniques that writers use and stuff like that, and we were given the assignment to write a poem. I struggled to pick a topic or someone to write about. It was about a person. You have to write a poem about a person. And eventually I remembered that I had kind of come up with this repetitive thought process on the bus ride home. For a lot of bus rides, I thought about my older cousin Emily and like watching her grow up, and I decided to put that into a poem. I think I brought this to her at Christmas or something like that, and I let her read it. She cried, and then I gave it to my aunt. She cried. I think I gave it to my mother, too. I think she cried. Like, all of the people who I gave it to, they all cried. There. Now you can see the puppo. So this poem is about my older cousin Emily, which, by the way, I talked about in my video about my first ever rock concert. It's about Emily and watching her grow up, different stages of her life. I am pretty proud of it. I haven't looked at this for a while, so this was written on March 9th, 2014 for literature class. When she was 15 years old, she used to play guitar in a band made of strange teens, with wild hair and piercings. I feared that she no longer loved me. That was the year when she spent a lot of time with a girl named Jess, who had hair that looked like fire, and her hugs smelled like root beer, and she liked to sing songs to herself, and her sister played violin after dinner, and I loved her endlessly. Some years passed by, and I saw her less often because she had to go to work and do grown-up things. That was the year that she turned into an adult, and her hugs smelled like cigarettes, and I started to see tattoos that spoke of nights spent with friends when I looked at her skin. Her bedroom walls were no longer covered in posters, and she no longer played in a band. And her sister dreamed of being a baker, and I loved her endlessly. I grew as well. I became a lone wolf on my own, so I talked to her about my fears, and she revealed to me the things that she couldn't tell me before, because I was now old enough to understand. That was the year she warned me about boys and told me not to fall in love, and I cried and tried to be a good girl for her, and she was no longer around to hug me, and her sister couldn't come to dinner on time. But I still loved her endlessly. Now she has a baby boy, and they laugh together all the time, and her sister is grumpy, as always, but oh so lovable, and her voice is overflowing with happiness, and I can truly feel how much she loves me when she hugs me to say hello, and to this day I love her endlessly, and I promise to never love her any less as long as I live. It made me cry a little bit, too. At the end, I put my initials. I had seen that a lot on Tumblr. When people would type poems, they would put their initials at the end. So there's Emily's story up to, I think she was like 24 when I wrote this poem. I remember really, really looking up to my cousins when I was younger. I thought they were so cool, and they were everything that I wanted to be. You know, Emily was in a band, and I said, I'm gonna be in a band when I'm in her age. Or, you know, Liz is going to be a baker, I'm gonna be a baker. Or, you know, everything they did, I just held on to, and it made me, I looked up to them so much, and they were so cool to me. And I remember feeling like that wasn't reciprocated. Like, I could never fully express to them how cool they were to me. And, you know, when she read this poem, she cried. And everyone else, I think 2 or 3 other people read it, and they all cried. This video is dedicated to my cousin Emily and her little sister Liz. Emily, Liz, my older cousins, I love you so much. I still look up to you. You're still my cool older cousins. It's so cool to watch all the things that you're doing, and I really hope both of you are doing well. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope every one of you is doing well. I hope you're all staying happy, healthy, and hydrated. Feel free to check out my music channel. I'm a musician as well, so if you want to see videos of me singing, you can go check that out. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Just another day of growing up. I get stuck in my romance, and I can't win no matter what I say, but you love me anyway. Oh, you know I love you, but no, I'm not the same. Oh, I'm mixed up in the States, but you love me